Hi, this is Jeremy, and this is a light pollution map of the world. The gray areas are dark and the colored areas are bright from artificial lighting. If you want to take photos of the stars in the night sky, the darker the better. I live in Osaka, Japan, perhaps one of the worst places in the world for light pollution. But I love trying to take photos of the stars, so it's going to take research and luck to satisfy my three big criteria. A dark, clear sky, accessible without a car, and a cool place worth photographing. Research has led me here, to an obscure train station called Hirokawa Beach. Yes, the English word beach is part of the name. There's a little pond nearby, and just beyond the pond is a mountain ridge with windmills along the top. Maybe I can get the windmills with the stars behind them, plus everything reflected in the water. In my mind, it could look something like this. Or maybe like this. So, does it satisfy the three big criteria? Well, it's reasonably dark, and behind the mountain ridge where I'll be aiming my camera is even better. Plus, the weather forecast, for nearby Gobo anyway, says clear skies. It'll take about 3 hours to get to Hirokawa Beach by train, and then it's a 2-kilometer walk to the pond, which for all I know is on private land. But of course it's better to ask forgiveness than permission. And is it a cool place to photograph? Well, it's got potential. This could all go wrong at any stage, but you'll never know until you try, so let's go see what happens. It's not too technically involved, but here's what I'm taking with me. My Canon EOS M3 camera with the regular lens, which is 18 to 55. I'm also taking my zoom lens, which is 55 to 200, just in case the mountains are farther away than I think, or whatever. A bunch of insulin and blood sugar strips. 2 off-brand extra backup batteries for the camera, which they last about an hour each. 2 USB chargers. I definitely will need one of these at least to help charge my phone while the phone is connecting to the camera, telling the camera to take pictures every few seconds. My selfie stick, because that's just how it is. A couple of wires to charge things up in case I end up in a hotel room and want to charge things. And of course my Korean tripod. Well, I'm a little early. The sun is still pretty high up in the sky. It's an hour and a half till sunset. It's only about a half-hour walk, maybe 25 minutes. But blood sugar's a little bit low. I've got time to sit here at the station and eat this donut. You always hear how the internet seems to make the world a smaller place. Well, from a traveler's and an adventurer's point of view, I would say that's a negative way of thinking. What it actually does is it introduces you to new places that you could go, but you can also use technology to help you do fun things like Google Maps. Google Street View is a great resource. Find a place either near or far that looks like something might be interesting there that you want to go. Scope it out on Google Maps, dream of what it's like when you really get there. And it's impossibly fun when you finally get there, when you do all the steps and you endeavor to actually go there and you see it for yourself. For example, I've been aware of this little pond and this possibility of taking night star photos with these windmills for about 6 months now. I can't wait for when I finally go through these 2 little tunnels, come up over the hill and see what the edge of this pond is like. Okay, so it looked impressive, at least in the daytime. Great windmills on the ridge, sky behind them, good reflection, though the water wasn't as still as I'd hoped. Not many clouds, only a bright moon that worried me. Nobody was around, no people, no cars, only chattering birds, very loud frogs, heard but never seen, and swarms of summer insects. The sun is going to set in about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, so might as well eat now while I'm waiting. And here's my dinner. Salmon, rice ball, stick cheese, yogurt with aloe in it, a chocolate muffin, and a banana. As I stood around waiting for darkness, a huge sound like a gunshot rang out in the valley across the road. I jumped. The noises continued at regular 8 to 10 minute intervals for the rest of the night. They made me jump every time. Guns aren't a thing in Japan, so I have no idea what it could have been. I set up a shot, and then set up my shot. Get it? And waited for the sun to go down behind me.
Okay, here's what's happening. It's hard to see, but the camera... keep hearing these gunshots. The Canon camera is taking pictures of the windmills and hopefully the stars. The iPhone is sitting on a nearby post, connected via Wi-Fi, and I have this app called Cascable or Cascable or whatever. It is telling the camera to take a picture every 30 seconds.
The composition I chose was this: vertical to capture the windmills and sky above and their reflections below. Even before darkness, I could see stars with the naked eye. I bumped up my ISO to 400 to try and capture the fainter reflection in the water. My aperture was set at 6.3 and I was taking 30-second exposures. Over half an hour I took 55 shots, and the increasingly dense clouds finally prompted me to give up.
The moon is really screwing this up. It's about 72% full and it's just too bright. I knew that before I came here, but there's that stupid gunshot sound again.
Looking at them in sequence, the reality is obvious. It just wasn't going to happen tonight. The star trails were good at first, but the clouds got too thick. A composite of all the photos, that's an airplane, shows how it started off great, but the cloud cover got the better of me. Some things to notice. I thought over time the rotation of the blades would produce faint circular smudges or slightly fainter star trails or something, but they didn't. Only the bases were visible. I also thought that despite the ripples in the water, some faint star trails would still be visible, but they weren't.
Too cloudy. Had to give up. If I leave now, I can catch my train, an earlier train, to Wakayama and get my hotel room.
As music marking 9 p.m. played over a loudspeaker in town, and the gunshots continued behind me, I hiked back to the station through the darkness.
With no decent star photos to your name, you've trudged back to the station. You're all alone except for the frogs, waiting for that lonesome train to take you back to old Wakayama.
So, clear skies? No. Accessible? Yes. Cool shot? I don't know. The windmill blur and the reflection in the water just weren't what I was thinking. I'm not sure if I would go back to this place to try again, but I'm definitely glad that I tried.